Welcome to the show, folks. We're diving deep into a controversial take on one of the most iconic figures in early Christianity.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. So, what's the big idea about this figure?
So, what we're looking at here is a provocative claim. The Peter we know, the rock on which Christ built his church, might
That's
not be
wild.
a single man at all. It's suggested that his identity could actually be a fusion of multiple traditions, rival narratives, and even Roman political spin.
Wait, so you're saying that the St. Peter from the Gospels might be more of a composite character rather than a historical individual?
Exactly. Think about it. In the Gospel of Mark, Peter comes off as impulsive and not exactly scholarly. Then, boom, in Matthew, he suddenly turns into this foundational figure.
Yeah.
And then in Luke Acts, he morphs again into this miracle worker shredding the stage beside Paul.
That's a huge leap in characteristics, isn't it? From a bumbling disciple to a divine rock.
It is huge. And in the Gospel of John, things take another twist, where Peter is overshadowed by the elusive, beloved disciple. Essentially, it's almost like these differences were intentional, almost like power plays between early Christian factions.
So, how does this tie in with what Paul wrote? Isn't his portrayal of Peter rather different?
Great point. Paul's letters, which are the earliest Christian writings we have, hardly mention Peter. And when he does mention him, for instance, in Galatians, it's not a flattering image at all. Paul seems to cast Peter as, well, a rival missionary with, noticeable hypocrisy.
Right, yeah.
This contrast really highlights the possibility of multiple layers in Peter's character.
So, do you think that later editors could have combined a historical figure with a symbolic one?
That's exactly the theory. Scholars like Bart Ehrman, Richard Carrier, and Robert Price have pointed out that Cephas, meaning rock in Aramaic, and Petros in Greek, could have been two distinct personas that eventually merged in the narrative to serve later agendas.
Interesting. But how do we explain the letters attributed to Peter in the New Testament? I mean, the so-called letters of Peter?
Oh, now that's where things really get murky. The style of these letters, especially 1 Peter, is way too polished for what you'd expect from a Galilean fisherman. Scholars generally date 1 Peter to around 90 CE, well after the supposed time of Peter. And then 2 Peter? That's even later, with most experts considering it a blatant forgery from the mid-2nd century.
That timeline really changes things. I mean, if these texts weren't written by the actual Peter, then what purpose did they serve?
They seem to have been crafted to bolster the myth of Peter, especially by the Roman Church.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, by the 2nd century, the Roman Church was in desperate need of a tangible apostolic founder. Associating their authority with a figure linked directly to Christ, albeit a constructed one, was a brilliant political maneuver.
That's a bit like giving a sports team a legendary founder just to boost their fan base, right?
It's pretty similar to that. It's like, forging a lineage that provides divine legitimacy and helps reconcile rival factions.
I see your point. Now, what about the legends of Peter in Rome? Did he even ever make it there historically?
That's another twist. Paul's letter to the Romans, the earliest account we have, doesn't mention Peter at all. Yet, later texts paint this dramatic picture of Peter journeying to Rome and even being martyred there, crucified upside down, no less.
Yeah, it's almost too cinematic, isn't it? It sounds like a myth created to solidify the authority of the Roman Church.
Right on. This version of Peter, the one enshrined in Roman tradition, appears to be a deliberate construct. It ties the Church directly to the original disciples, irrespective of the historical inconsistencies. Hey, it's like, they were crafting a hero for their own narrative, even if it meant bending the truth.
That's a strong claim. But hold on a minute. If the historical records show such discrepancies, isn't it possible that some of these differences are just variations in storytelling, not political plots?
That's a valid question. I mean, storytelling does have its creative liberties. However, the inconsistencies are too pronounced, especially when you compare the Gospels to Paul's writings and the later texts. It's not just random differences, it's more like
Right, got it.
intentional shifts that align with specific power structures.
And what about the Gnostic writings? They seem to offer a completely different take on Peter.
Oh, yes, the Gnostic texts, like the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary, present Peter in an entirely unflattering light, as jealous, uninformed, and even obstructive to the pursuit of deeper mystical knowledge. It's almost as
That's
if
quite a
these
departure.
texts were a counter-narrative to the mainstream version of Peter.
So, in a way, these Gnostic perspectives paint him as less of a hero and more of an obstacle within the church.
Exactly. To the Gnostics, Peter isn't the rock on which the church is built. He's a symbol of the rigid, male-dominated side of religion that stifles the true
Right, that's a
mystical
sharp critique.
teachings of Christ.
It certainly makes you wonder, who really was Peter then? A historical figure? A symbol? Or a convenient invention?
That's the million-dollar question. Was he a simple Galilean fisherman whose persona was gradually mythologized? Or, was he ever a real person at all? The evidence points to a carefully edited mosaic, a fusion of various narratives that served the evolving needs of early Christian communities and later the institutional Roman Church.
It's almost like a literary collage. And that fusion was likely solidified to create a unified foundation for the faith.
Absolutely. By merging multiple identities and characteristics into one figure, church leaders could claim undeniable apostolic authority. It provided them with a divine lineage that was, strategically useful as they navigated internal power struggles and external challenges like Roman rule.
Yeah, I can totally see that. It's fascinating how the politics of belief can shape even the most sacred narratives.
Totally. And it makes you question the way history is written, doesn't it? When you consider that what many take as the unassailable truth could be, a product of deliberate myth-making and strategic spin.
Precisely. I do have to challenge one thing, though. While the narrative suggests deliberate manipulation, might some of these variations also be the result of oral traditions evolving over time?
That's a fair point. Oral traditions do morph as they're passed down. However, the degree of variance and the timing of these texts suggest that beyond natural evolution, there was a strong element of intentional narrative crafting, especially in the case of the
that
Roman
deliberate
Church
aspect
and
is
the
key.
later forged letters.
So, when it comes down to it, the legend of Peter is less about historical accuracy and more about the evolution of power and faith in early Christianity.
Exactly. It's like a historical Rorschach test. The image you see depends entirely on the lens of your beliefs and the political climates that shape the narratives.
That's a really striking analogy. And that just goes to show the complexity behind what we often consider divine history.
No doubt about it. What we're really left with is a reminder that even the most sacred texts and figures can, at times, be vehicles for broader cultural and political agendas.
Yeah, that's quite thought-provoking. This definitely opens up a whole new way of thinking about our historical narratives and the power structures behind them.
Absolutely, and if this discussion left you like maybe even a bit uneasy or just really curious, stick around for more deep dives into the hidden layers of history.
And don't be shy. Dig into the debates, question the established narratives, and let these conversations lead you to even deeper insights.
Thanks for joining in on this wild ride through some pretty forbidden knowledge. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep that curiosity burning bright.